All right, Kirill, my friend, good evening. Give me 1 second. Hello to you as well. Let me just configure stuff here. Let me just configure things very quickly. Camera. Alrighty, should be able to see me quite well, I guess. Let's see. The microphone. Gonna make it all the way up. Alright, can you hear me well? Is the music fine? Is it too loud? Awesome, give me 1 second, I'm just checking the quality on YouTube. Apparently I'm using stream status poor. Okay, that sucks. Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna stop streaming to YouTube and then configure it. YouTube made encoder, output settings. I don't know, it was fine actually, what the hell? Wait, something's wrong. Stream URL. Okay. Yeah, that was fine. I don't know. All right, that's a bit weird. Give me 2 seconds. Seems I'm still streaming to YouTube, but how can I check that out? Your channel maybe. And then this. Alrighty, Kirill, how is life, my friend? How is everything? Let's switch back here to main and get started with some things over here. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff I was doing. Busy with work. Very nice, man. Glad to hear that. Last time we spoke, you were looking for work, so. How quickly have tables? How quickly has tables been turned? Right. Okay. This in theory should be fine. Huh? Interesting. Interesting. Okay. What? Unpacking. What's happening? Yeah, that's weird. Okay. That's super weird. Okay. So. Give me 2 seconds. I think we need to. What are you using for Windows management? I'm not using anything. I just use built-in Windows things. Not using anything. I mean, both on Mac when I'm at work and now from this Windows streaming machine. It's yeah, it's always it's whatever comes. Whatever comes with the operating system, yeah. Let me just do a couple of commits here, and then we focus on some features and stuff. I have a bunch of stuff I was doing off stream. Okay, all of that is good. Yeah, that's weird. Why is I think gain on my microphone is way too high, and then it's picking up a lot of stuff. I need to reduce this a bit. Can you still hear me well, Kirill? Yeah, but it should be, I need it to be like super good. It's just that higher you increase the gain, obviously, right? More noise you're gonna have, so yeah. All right, that's great. Cranberry, good evening, buddy. Good to see you. You just needed to volume up a bit, but yeah, that kind of doesn't make sense. I can see that my audio, so I think it is on your end, Cranberry, because I can see it here in OBS. It's almost peaking over it's almost breaking over, right? So I think it's more that maybe your volume was a little bit down. Free space, good evening, my friend. Or maybe music is too loud. Should I reduce the music? Now it's good. Okay, great. Okay, let me just I need to check a couple of things, and I'll literally just do one crazy thing, because I did some massive refactor of exports and stuff, and did a bunch of CI stuff off stream. So this, I think there are some states for this crap that are broken, but yeah, and we'll also do some infrastructure in a second. Yeah, this is wrong. No, it's not actually, it's fine, that's correct. Correct. Most of it, yeah. I still did find some strange states in the app. I just need to do this very quickly. I mean, okay, like I don't actually think I have to do this. It all seems great. Yeah, okay, that's good actually. So nothing really to do there. There's actually an upgrade here of Storybook, which, I mean, sure, we could do. I mean, we should keep all of our dependencies up to date. Okay, so this is the CI is done. That's great. This release please should have opened a PR for us. It didn't. Super weird. Okay, what? Unless I made it... Oh crap, yeah, no, it's fine, because now we're using release please, so we have to do kind of semantic commits, and we need to kind of like, yeah, do certain things with our commit. This is actually good because we're now gonna do this upgrade here, and then we should work trace deprecation. Yeah, so there's some packages apparently that are deprecated. We don't care. These are probably some peer dependencies. So for full blah blah blah, we also don't care. Let's just make sure that it actually works after the upgrade. That's really all that we care about. And it seems, yeah, I mean, we could just for the sake of... No, that's okay. All right, fine. Okay, that's actually good, because now we'll just commit that again. Sure. So we'll commit this, and we'll just say maybe feature. That pre-commit hook is gonna run. That's great. Okay, let's now go to I mean, that's fine. I'm not actually worried about it anymore. But then we have, what is this? We have, what? So many projects, Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, this is it. Okay, great. Then we have our front-end project that I also had to do a bunch of, well, I didn't have to, but I just did a lot of due diligence. A lot of things have been changed and stuff. So So that's kind of where we're gonna merge and stuff and then continue. I'm actually not going to merge this because here we have some things that we can't release yet, I believe. Hopefully, actually, I didn't release that to production, did I? No, I didn't. What's going on with my last pass? It's kind of farting out. Okay. Okay, actually I didn't release that. Okay, that's fine. So this should now trigger the actual release automatically. Yeah, so we have release please, and then we have a push to master. So hopefully we're gonna see that now. Okay, cool. Great, cool. We actually don't need to deploy that yet. Now, okay. And then what I'm actually going to do here, I'm going to try to build this just to see if there's, yeah, for some reason I see, okay. What the fuck did I do? Oh shit. I need to nuke the containers and then let's see. And then we need to kind of do some stuff here. What did I actually change here? We added the bull MQ board. Okay. I have a bunch of changes in the API. We have, yeah, I need to we need to close that. Okay, did it create a new version? It did. Did the other CI jobs pass? They did, sure. Okay. We should also probably add the Frey Gemini code review to Yale. Wait, Gemini code review, GitHub code assist, yeah. Or is it code reviewer? I think it's, yeah. Fuck. I actually don't remember which one was it. Yeah, I think it's maybe this one. Already installed. Sure, but where do I change the where do I yeah, it's actually should be here, right? Yeah, Gemini code assist. Yeah, I've actually already added it. Okay. Oh, come on, man. Like, what's up with the fucking LastPass, man? Why is LastPass not working? So annoying. Use GitHub Mobile. Sure. Give me 1 second. All right, cool. So let's, so what do we have? Front-end API, infrastructure. Okay, so it already is added to Yale, so that's a bit weird. So why, yeah, that's the, or maybe I just forgot it, but it should be should be working, basically, I think. Have these images here. Let's take a look at this, Yale. All right, anyway, let's see. Doesn't matter. I mean, okay, let's do this, and then this should trigger another job, which is then gonna deploy to npm. Okay, good, great. Cool, so that's good. We're gonna leave that for later. And then we have a bunch of changes here in the front end project. So let's, let me try to, I don't know why is it doing that, because we have nuked all of our containers. Let's take a look at that actually, did we? Yeah, there's no running containers, so nothing really should be locking that. I shouldn't really need to sudo this. It's very weird. All right. Try that again. And also, I think one last thing I want to actually do here is maybe we can use AI for that a bit. Like I think because I'm using obviously Yale for as our core library here. You can see that I'm manually appending this file locally when I'm developing, right? So let's maybe solve this as well using Yolk or something like that. Let's use AI to help us with that. But let's introduce Yolk or anything else that might be better when using our programmer network Louis GUI inside while developing. As you can see, during development, I'm manually changing the Yale path to, and that is annoying. Okay, let's maybe do this just so I don't want to do this. This Android stuff is from the thing we wanted to deploy, from our app being deployed on Android store, but I never actually finalized that, sadly. Okay. This should have triggered. Actually, no. I think I made this workflow, the published workflow. I made it manual. So let's actually run this workflow here. So this should start the new workflow to publish it to npm actually, which is gonna verify, then publish the storybook in npm. So that's good. Let's see what this bad boy is gonna do. Yelk publish, Yelk watch, nodemon. Okay, that's super strange. Hey Chica, hey man. Wow, that is, what the fuck, man. Yeah, that is really bad. Like, what? Why are you using nodemon when all of our projects are using Vice? That, I don't know. So this is indeed, wow, this is some really weird versioning, but that's fine. Okay, what else do we have? So we have Louis GUI, yeah. So here we publish the Louis GUI, we watch it, and then in the front end we consume it essentially like this. So that is, and then we can. Yeah, I mean that's reasonable. Then here we add it, so we publish that creates a symlink, then we consume it here, and then we remove it when we want to remove it. This is just super weird. Okay. You're absolutely right. Jesus, man. Come on. I know that I'm right, man. I know that I'm right. Yeah, this is wrong. AI kind of is very fucking dumb in this context. But inside of my Vice, I'm aliasing the paths to src, so that should not be necessary. I'm absolutely right again. Jesus Christ, man. Okay, now it's just telling me to revert everything it did. Okay, great. Super nice. Okay, very useful. Very useful. No, it's okay. I mean, it's okay because it's fine. I just confirms that what I've actually done myself works. I don't know why it creates these idiotic readmes. I don't know, like. Tony, hey buddy, good to see you, man. Thank you for coming. Yeah, I mean, AI life is good. I mean, I genuinely believe, I think AI is fascinating, and I think for us who can do this job and who've been doing it for a long time, it's incredible. Of course, to its defense here, I could have been more clear, right? Sometimes I'm just too tired, and I'm just, which then makes me lazy, right? So to its defense, I mean, yeah, I can't blame it for this little, you know, but yeah, it's, you know, I mean, what can you do, right? It's you're gonna always get as bad output as your input is. So if you give it a crappy input, you're gonna get as crappy output. So in a way, it's the same with humans. Same when you sit with your team. If you have issues conveying your ideas to a human, I mean, the human can also just answer in a very crappy way. So in a way, I have to defend it, because I would say if I told it up front, hey, by the way, I'm using Vita aliases already, blah, 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 it would have probably just said, you know what, Alex, that's good enough. You shouldn't need to do anything else, right? So. All right, so let's see. So the next thing I want to do, man, I just want to start coding, but I just have all of these changes that I made so many, like, I just had to kind of, I unified tooling across multiple of our repositories, and you know that we have like a bunch of different repositories and stuff. So yeah, actually, this is very good because we have a few of these instances where okay, this is actually very good to see. This should never really be necessary. Okay, that's very weird. But for example, what is this? Constants in where? Yeah, tip-tap controls. So all of these should now be properly exported. Yes. Because I did a lot of work on the tooling and stuff, so these super strange paths now should be properly handled. Yes. Okay, wow, that is all right. I mean, oh yeah, actually, it's so weird that they didn't complain about this, because now we can properly import these. Yes, very nice. T validation error. Then these kind of type namespaces are now gone. They no longer exist. Image utils. Image utils, I thought that we have, to be honest. Unless I mess that one up, that would be very unfortunate. image utils. Or maybe it's just exported now as compress. Ooh, shit. Yeah, that is a huge bummer. Image utils. Wait a minute. I hope. Ah, I see. Okay. Well, that is unfortunate. I don't think that. Yeah, fuck. We need to fix that. Ah, that's boring. Yeah, that kind of sucks, man. But that's what we gotta do. Cause if we go over here. All right. Well, we need to do a couple of things here. First and foremost. Okay, so we're exporting a class from here, and then do we instantiate this somewhere? Maybe here. Nah. Okay, so we are in fact. Wait a minute. Image utils. Yeah, but these are actually all using static members, right? So that's why we don't care. So they're all static, right? Okay. Well, let's do it as named exports instead, because that's kind of the pattern I inherited all over the place now for several reasons. So that should be a named export. That should be a named export, and that should also be a named export. And then I guess, actually we don't have any tests for the canvas. We do have tests for the array utils, images, index types, string. Yeah, that's fine. This is not fine. Woody, thank you very much, man, for the follow. That's very kind of you, man. All right, let's do this as well. And then over here, right, we can remove the S. So now we're kind of simplifying it a bit. And actually, in fact, now due to the nature of this, right, because we're doing the types as well, we can actually just say, you know, export all from the array. So we can do it like this as well. And if I actually go to src here, index, it's kind of what we're doing here as well for all of our cores, and then we're also exporting the type. Okay, actually, yeah, let's maybe do the same here, not just structure matters a lot, right? So let's not I want this library to be holy grail of state stability. So let's actually do the same that we did there. This is just a cleanup after having this library for a couple of years. So if we actually go here, you can see that, yeah, that is correct. Okay, so and that's kind of what I missed also here. That's perfectly fine. This is almost kind of perfectly now done, if you ask me. Let me just take a look at this. So we don't really have. Yeah, there's really no types, array types, canvas types. Is there? Could we? Nah. Okay, fine, sure. Then we have the image utils here. You could, in theory, say that we could export some of these types, but they are pretty primitive, so not really index, not really. So we only really have the types for the image here, which you could say, yeah. I'm not creating an instance, right? So so you see, like, so you can see that these are all static members, right? So we're not really ever instantiating this because we don't really care. We're just using class not for the sake of inheritance. We don't like inheritance. We think that inheritance sucks. We're just doing this for the sake of encapsulating similar functionalities into on the same umbrella, right? So we never really instantiate anything because all of them are static members, right? There's nothing really to instantiate because none of these utils take any constructor, anything through the constructor anyway, right? So they're pretty separate. Why am I not responding to chat? Well, I mean, I cannot respond to chat in every second, right? Then I wouldn't do any coding. And I'm here to write code, not just to chat, right? Thank you very much, everybody, for your follows. Appreciate it. So anyway, this is fine. I mean, I don't think that we need to do anything much more here. The only thing that I still actually dislike here, to be honest, if we were to follow the structure, is like if you look at the components, right? This is the structure, right? So so that's what I'm gonna do. Maybe just for the sake of it, does it matter? No. Yeah, but yes. So I'm gonna say arrayutils.ts. And essentially the idea is the same as always, right? So we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna have a central file that export this, and then that eventually exports the types. What am I coding? This stream is typically about that platform. Right now I'm just refactoring something. Not refactoring, that's a shitty word. I'm taking all of the time with some of this is the core library of, this is our UI library that I built for this project. So right now I'm just consolidating some stuff because I want this library to always to be as perfect as possible, because it's the backbone of the whole. So this whole UI here is essentially that library itself, right? So I'm just now, because it was irritating me, some exports weren't consolidated, you know, some components were exported in this way or that way, some types were exported this way or that way. So right now I'm fundamentally just doing the last cleanup, if you may, because I built this library very, very long ago, and it was just something I wanted to do for a long time, and I did most of the automation I did with AI anyways. I didn't actually spend I didn't spend much time doing it, to be very honest with you. Do you know AI development and machine learning? If you mean, am I a machine learning scientist or whatever, I'm not, no. And I do not know it, no. And I will probably not know it for some time, because right now I don't have interest in that. It doesn't interest me. I have colleagues and friends who do that, and that type of job would very much bore me right now. But you know, I have other interests and other zones where I evolve. I work as a technical lead, and soon probably as an engineering director or CTO. So most of the time I spend is sharpening up in the domain of leadership. So, because that's where my career is now, and I work as a tech lead now. So I'm more interested into people and evolving people and helping them in their careers than some technology, whatever. Because technology is nearly always the same with different syntax. Image utils instead of image ds. Well, the thing is, that's a good yeah, actually, yeah. Then the question is, should we then name the folders that oh fuck, I think my mouse died. Wait, I have another one. I've been coding for many years. Professionally, I'm working since 2008 or 2007, but I was coding since I was very young. Just a very different stuff. When I was young, I was coding Pascal and COBOL and PHP 3 and Visual Basic. So that was very different. And then C++ and a bunch of other stuff. Actually, we could do that. We could do that, Kirill. We could do that. It's just, yeah, then we need to kind of also, that's going to be a bit more work then, because sure, let's say array utils, canvas utils, image utils. The thing is, we have a parent folder which kind of implies that these are utils, right? That's why, because when you import, it's going to be /utils/ but it actually doesn't really matter. I don't think we should do that. I think my reasoning was that we have an umbrella called utils, and then inside of utils you have specific types of utils. So yeah, Yale is a UI library. Does it mean we get? Yeah, that's exactly what it means. Of course, I'm building these for my own use case of programming network, but you could use it in your own project out of the box. I think if you just go to GitHub, right, and you go to Yale, or did I already shared it. Yeah, if you just go here, you just install it, you import the Yale CSS file, and then you start using the components. So you're probably better off with some other libraries, to be honest, because of course you can build a lot of things using this, but I'm building this for my own platform, as you can see. So I'm not really doing this for others or anything like that. It has no correlation. So this is not open source because I wanted others to use. This is open source mostly for the sake of decoupling it from the core project, and it just happens to be public. But I'm not doing this because, you know, I don't know, like I want to kind of know. Okay, so that's good now. Which project is this and what is the error? Let's try to build this. Let's try to check all. As a fresher or junior developer preparing for job hunting, should I focus on becoming a specialist in one area or aim to be generalist? My strengths and main interests are in front-end, while I have only basic knowledge of back-end technologies like Postgres. I enjoy exploring front-end focused topics such as system design and this. Well, I mean, you have very little experience right now, right? So you cannot focus on becoming an expert in anything. You're years away from being, I mean, expert. I've been doing this job for 20 years, and I would never call myself an expert, right? Because more you know, more you realize how little you know, right? So you need to just get a job and start brushing up real skills, right? Because you can read all the design system books and all of the stuff and watch YouTube videos and aggregate theoretical knowledge, but you need to build software with people and with teams, with cross-functional teams and stuff. This is what experience is, right? I'm sure that you're very capable right now of, you know, doing many things, but what you're not capable of now is now being fully functional with people, with deadlines, with million other side effects that the job brings, right? And this is what experience is. Experience doesn't mean I know 3 programming languages. Nobody cares about it. Experience means, does this person know how to work with others, etc., etc., etc. So many things, right? So I mean, it's never late to start anything, man. I mean, some people thrive in a top-down approach of learning, right? You have two ways you can learn things. You have it bottom up and top down. Bottom up is standard school type of way, post-communist type of way. You start with 1 lecture, 2, and then you wonder for 4 months, why am I learning this? Or you can say, hey, I want to build whatever AI, whatever, I don't know what you mean when you say I want to build AI tool that doesn't reveal much. But either way, of course, you can start there and then walk backwards. This is typically way more logical for human brain than the other way around. So you start from your goal and then you walk backwards towards the solution, right? And then you start asking questions. Okay, that's almost like reverse engineering things, right? So instead of like starting from what is a variable in a way, right, you start the other way around. You say, okay, these are the things I want to build. You draw it out and then you walk backwards to achieve that, right? In typically building products and failing at that, in rare occasions, it has anything to do with code. It has to do with all other things, such as not being able to deliver, procrastinating, not focusing on the projects. That's why 99% of developers and non-developers never finish anything that they start. It has nothing to do with their coding capabilities. It has all to do with focus and continuity and focus, and so building products alone at home, or what I'm doing in this stream, has very little to do with skills and all to do with being able to focus and have priorities. And you know, this is where majority of people fail, and they don't fail because they don't know how to write a React component or build an API. You need to create a belief system for yourself, build some crap that nobody thinks like cares about, that many people say, why the hell are you building that shit? So you need to be able to do that and do it for a long time until you succeed. And this is a real skill, and that's the most difficult part in building a company is exactly that, believing in yourself and in the stuff that you're building while nobody else actually believes that. And you know, that's just what it is. So it has nothing to do with coding. Programming was never necessarily hard per se. It was doing programming and then knowing all of these other things. Absolutely. I mean, I think there's no human beings on this earth in profession like programmers, especially less experienced ones. You know, a lot of, and this I know that you didn't suggest that, you know, out of a bad place. It's just that when you don't have experience, there's so many questions you lack when you approach any problem, right? Is that, oh, if I wrote this code, it would have been so much better, but that is such naive. I'm not going to even call it, again, egoistic, because I know that it doesn't come from a bad place. But once you kind of grow as a professional engineer, once you focus on the outcomes and value and things that matter for the business, then you realize that you never in your life almost want to rewrite anything unless you can provide tangible, concrete reasons why, and knowing that that's going to be a massive project, because every time you rewrite something gets lost in translation. Some regression is introduced, some other issues are created, right? So, but us developers, we have this strong conviction how, oh, if I only rewrite this, it's going to be perfect and it's not going to have bugs, and that is such a silly thing. I always laugh at that. But again, it's very typical for less experienced people, because you need to fail. And in fact, if my junior in my team, I don't have any juniors now, unfortunately, but if my junior would come and ask that, I would actually say, yes, please proceed. Because these are the best lessons. One of the best things you can do in leadership is you can let people fail, because that's where they learn. Rux, I think you're using these, how they're called, are these nouns? I don't know the word. I think you're focusing too much on these things. It doesn't matter if I'm an expert or not. These things are meaningless, right? Like, you would have to define what that means, right? You don't need to be a specialist. I mean, I would say that I am specialist at this job, but the reason why I'm specialist has very little to do with languages or frameworks, even though I'm also good at those. But speciality doesn't come from knowing React, right? Or being a JavaScript guru or whatever, right? So you become specialist by combining it's a compound effect of various skills, from social, leadership, your hard skills, capabilities. Like, you cannot become a specialist just because you know a language, right? You're not a specialist then. There's a far greater scope of things when you are a professional than, you know, just a language, right? But also that question can be answered in so many ways. Am I specialist compared to whom, right? Am I specialist relative to Kyle Simpson in a JavaScript, spec? No, I'm not. But am I a specialist relative to maybe many other regular developers? I probably am, right? So are you special? I mean, everything is relative, right? Specialist relative to whom, right? It's always that's always that's always a hard one, right? Okay. Everything's relative, man. Everything's relative. What do companies expect from users? I don't honestly know what they expect, and I mean, of course, expectations change relative to the changes on this planet, right? So of course, expectations in everywhere, not just in programming, are a product of many other circumstances. So of course, what we expect from a programmer today is vastly different than what we expected 20 years ago, right? So that is always a shit. So oh, I see what's happening, right? So that is also the problem, isn't it? So also what we forgot to export from here was utils, right? Yes, of course. So we need to actually build this again. Oh, that's not actually what I wanted anyway, because we're running this in a Docker container. Just try installing this again. And now, technically, if I restart the TypeScript server, this should be classified as there. Let's see. Yeah, that kind of... Okay, no, it's good. It's very good. Okay, that is awesome. Perfect. Now, so you can see we have this class, whatever. So let's just search here like utils dot, and then we're gonna scope that global search only to this project, to the components here, just so we can kind of find all the occurrences of where we're using this. So we have comment utils. These are kind of localized here to this. Error utils, that's also local to this project. String utils, I suppose. Okay, interesting. So cool default title. So it seems that, let me just write this down because I'm not gonna do it this stream, but so let me just write it down. Move generic utils to EL. I'm not gonna do that now. I'm gonna automate, just do that with the AI. Make video or talk more about your Kubernetes box you showed last video. Yeah, I mean, if you want, let's do that for a couple of minutes. So let's let me plug it in. Let me plug in the camera here so we can all see it. Give me 1 second. Alrighty, so let's discuss what is it called? Let's discuss this bad boy a little bit. Let me just do this. Okay, cool. So, because just for those of you, of course, that I want to win over, just talking about infrastructure, right? So, so as you can see here, let me just enlarge this. So this is my Kubernetes cluster. this is my Kubernetes cluster that's composed, as you can see here in the bottom. There's 4 Raspberry Pis, and actually, for those of you that I haven't shared this with, I wrote the whole journey of mine with it. It's always, of course, work in progress, but you can see it there, and you can also go to hardware. It's very different, right? Like if you go, give me 1 second. Like if we take a look at, for example, give me 2 seconds. Like, so if we take a look at the hardware components here, you can, I wrote it all. So I wrote everything down. I also included how much money I've spent on all of this throughout the journey. Of course, if I did it, I spent around $2,000, a little bit more maybe over time, which is, I mean, this is insanely powerful, like home data center. But you can see I spent 2.3K. Of course, this is with mistakes that I made, like etc. But let's talk about it. Good evening, everybody. Anonymous. Okay, so let's talk about it a bit now, right? So so if we do this a little bit, so you can see here there's 4 Raspberry Pis on the bottom in the first row of this rack. Then we have three mini PCs, and these are beasts. These are insane. And then you can see here we have and then we have 3 mini PCs. One of these PCs is my actual router. So I made a custom router. I made my own custom router, which is enterprise grade router. So basically, if you go to that guide that I gave you, it is under the MikroTik. Actually, if I go to components, mini PCs, network, yeah. So I actually wrote about it here. So anyway, so Programmer Network, believe it or not, is not yet hosted in this cluster. I host some other things like Argo CD, N8N and stuff. But actually in one of the next streams, tonight, I'm going to some business trip for 4 days. But when I'm back, we'll probably move all of our infrastructure from Hetzner to a home server. So Programmer Network will be hosted on my own infrastructure, and I actually can't wait for that. Now, to speak more about it, I think it's kind of useless. I wrote most of this stuff in that guide, so technically I think it's more, yeah, I think it's probably best if you go and read that. But overall, yeah, you also will hear why am I doing it, why maybe you should be doing it, and why you shouldn't be doing it. I think it's imperative. I think if I actually hide this, I think for many of you, especially younger individuals or somebody who is less experienced, I think probably this section on why is something I really advise you to read, especially the first part. And this has nothing to do with just this question. It really boils down to any question. So you can see, for example, as I wrote here, I said, what I've learned over the last 2 decades of my career is that if you're wondering whether you need something, you probably don't. These things usually come naturally as a result of the problems you encounter. The problem itself often guides you to the right tools, just like this one. So in simple words, right, if you ever wonder, should I learn this language or should I learn whatever, it's like the fact that you're asking that question usually comes out of just boredom or procrastination, or just you heard about it somewhere on YouTube or whatever. But typically the way you learn new tools, typically the way you get better at finding them, is when you're building real applications in real companies, and then you stumble upon a problem and then say, oh, you know, Postgres or MySQL relational model doesn't fit the problem we have, so what should we do? Then you start researching databases and you say, oh man, MongoDB seems to be a database that has, you know, collections and flat, it's schemaless, whatever, right? So the point being is, this is how you make technical decisions, and this is how you typically make decisions on what to learn next. It's, you know, you have a problem you encountered, so you know you solve it by introducing a tool, not the other way around. You don't just wake up and say, let me learn Mongo, right? Or let me learn painting. So that makes no sense. Okay. But I think we will do a lot of infrastructure in this stream over time, no question about it. I know we do everything from UI, backends, and microservices and infrastructure. So why do we do all of this? Because, well, I'm hosting a whole platform online, and the platform needs all of this, right? I mean, infrastructure without front end is useless. Back end without front end is useless. Front end without these things. So each one of these components are equally important, because if one is missing, nothing is working, right? So like it or not, oh, I don't like UI. Well, that is going to be bad for you then. All right, what the fuck happened here? Missing this. Okay, I see, because we didn't build it, I guess, but we had built it. Missing this TL in here. Okay. Well, I mean, cloud doesn't have it either. We saw it with AWS a few days ago. AWS was down for 10 hours. Half of the internet was down, right? So I mean, like the thing is, right? Actually, the thing is, look, I would never host an airplane critical system at my home, right? So for sure, right? But it's a very hard question, right? Because redundancy and outage recovery and stuff, these are the things that they do happen, right? It's just I don't know. It's a hard subject to talk about, because there's no bulletproof infrastructure. Such thing doesn't exist. And again, I'm not trying to shit on AWS. All of these cloud services are amazing. But you saw it that the most used and most glorified platform on the internet, AWS, that everybody swears by, was down for 10 hours, not 10 minutes, not 20 minutes, not 2 minutes, 10 hours, right? So there's no bulletproof infrastructure. Like, such thing is just it's a silly thing to assume that, right? Such thing doesn't exist, right? So of course, every decision has different risks, right? Like doing bare metal at home has its own risks. Doing the cloud has its own. So each solution you make as an engineer has certain level of risk. Like there's no bulletproof solution. It's just, what are the trade-offs that you're willing to accept, right? What are the trade-offs that you're willing to accept? What is your reasoning? This is because everything else is just silly. There's no perfect system. The system will fail at one point in time. Every system on Earth, Google, Facebook, your home Hello World app that nobody ever went to, everything fails at one point. And the core question is, just when. That is the core question. What the fuck is happening? This DL, what? Actually, don't know what happened here, man. Should I restart my Docker container? Because these volumes can sometimes kind of get a bit dumb. Are we actually doing any? Let's take a look at Docker Compose. But I'm sorry, it's again, like, it's a very good question, like super hard question to answer. It's a super hard question to answer, because what do you do? I mean, things will fail. And, for example, here for my home Kubernetes cluster, I have an extra router, right? So, for example, if my main router dies, I have a replicated config on another one. I have a bunch of SSDs around that I'm using. So again, but that's not something I think about, because again, all of my backups are synced to the cloud, to Cloudflare S3, right? So at least, so really the core thing that you have to protect is the data. Because really, when you go to any platform, Facebook, Google, programmer.network, I mean, the only value you have there is the data, right? If you can export that and keep several backups a day, just do a PG dump of your Postgres or whatever, you're pretty safe. Things can fail, everything can burn, But fundamentally, if your infrastructure is declarative, if you're using even infrastructure as code like Terraform, then right, exactly. So it's basically you can mitigate. For example, like let's say for example now, Iga, that I host now everything. I just moved everything to my local server and it all died. I would probably be up online in 2 or 3 hours max, because I would just replicate same on Hetzner. So I would go to Hetzner that I pay already. I would get a server for X amount of euros, and I would SSH in there, do some basic firewalling and stuff, spawn my Docker Swarm or my Docker Compose, SSH into the server, restore the PG dump, maybe some other restores, and at least you're live again for real, right? Of course, I don't really do much of the Terraform, to be very frank with you, so I would have to go manually to Cloudflare, update the DNS records, maybe update a couple of other things, maybe a worker or two, but fundamentally, I don't do infrastructure as code, but I document every single process. So my firewall is fully documented, so everything is documented. So you could almost say that I semi-do infrastructure as code, because all of my firewall rules are documented in a README file. So pretty much I could copy-paste a bunch of stuff into terminal and it would work, right? What if your DB was on your home network that died? I don't think, even in that scenario, I'm safe, because for yeah, and I already do that, yes. So all of these things are automated. So all of the databases that I run on my local Kubernetes are synced 6 times a day to S3. So that already works. And how is that done? I'm using Velero, and I'm using Velero for that. And I'm also using Longhorn, right? Actually, for those of you who don't know what Longhorn is cloud native distributed block storage for Kubernetes. So right now on my K3s cluster, all of the data is replicated on actually 6 SSDs. So this is almost like RAID in a way, but so essentially, as long as not all 6 drives die, you're pretty safe to a larger degree. Then I'm using Velero, and then I'm also syncing all of the databases to S3 because it's so Cloudflare S3, and actually they call it R2. So the stuff that matters, and also I back up 6 times a day all of the Kubernetes configs, all the state and stuff is also so basically with Velero I can almost do a complete restore. So of course, if let's imagine that some of the hardware components die and I don't have a replacement, well, that would be a bummer. So I would actually need to go, because I cannot go and buy hardware for every single possible thing, because I don't use this for Cloudflare has R2, and R2 is free up until a certain point. I'm not even paying anything for it. I use the free version, and it's more than enough, right? So, and then Longhorn, then we have PG native operator in our cluster. Then we're using Argo CD. Obviously, this is our Argo here. So you can see we have cloud native PG operator, Longhorn, Redis. We have root app, and then I have this app of apps, which is a concept in Argo. So and this is actually online. This is my cluster being online. So it's quite fascinating. And as I've wrote in that guide, if you care about what my reasoning is. So again, as I say, this is, if you read the why and why is it hard, what the outcome is, you will understand my reasoning. Why would you want to do this, right? And the reasons of why you want to do this are not related to building a business. It's related to having literally, this is mini data center at home. This is not a Kubernetes at home. This is mini data center at home. Why? Because I have to have UPS. I have to take care of voltage changes. I have to take care of electricity. So I had to optimize all of this hardware to consume as less watts as possible. I had to add fans. I had to do my networking stack, security there. So this is the most beautiful project you can do for yourself as a nerd, to really understand, or at least have a solid level understanding. You don't have to be like a Cisco certified CCNA, CCNP, or MikroTik, but needing to do your own networking. So you can see, for example, here I have my own VLANs. Like, how did I segment my network? So for example, I have a VLAN 20, which is my VLAN for my cluster here. So all of these things, you can kind of get a very good feel on what it actually takes. So when you pay a hosting service, you can kind of at least then know, okay, what it is that this data center does. Of course, data center has specialized equipment for hosting, and these servers are optimized, and the motherboards and stuff. But fundamentally, it's not far-fetched. It's not doing this mini version at home is not really far-fetched from. There are many challenges that you face at home that a data center can get DDoSed, you can get DDoSed, right? So how do you mitigate that? Well, first and foremost, so for example, as I wrote here, it's like, hey, why am I having a PC? I literally have a mini PC, as you saw here, as my router. Like, why the hell, Alex, would you do that? Are you crazy, right? Why do you need like a quad core or a 8 core, whatever? Well, I need it because you can have a perfect API, perfect host system, perfect stuff. If somebody disables your network, then it's all meaningless, because the first line of defense is some packets or whatever coming into your network. So the network is the first line of defense. And if you know what a defensive programming is, you will then know that security spans across multiple layers. So the security isn't adding cores to your API or rate limiting, right? Rate limiting exists on layer 2 to the API. So nobody is going to necessarily spam your API per se, and that's the bottleneck. Why? Somebody can just spam your networking stack. So when somebody does DDoS, when a global distributed denial of service happens, that happens on the networking layer, not on the API layer. Somebody just bombards your network, and your switches, your routers, they just can't handle the traffic, right? So all of these things you can learn the best if you actually have to maintain it. And the way to maintain it is to, somebody asked how much this costs. I put all of that stuff here under the hardware. If you go to components, you can find the Excel sheet right here. You can just click on this link, and then this is all of the stuff I bought. This is not all of the stuff that's necessary. This was my own list of things to keep track of. Many of these things are not really needed, but for example, you're not going to use SD cards with your whatever. So there's a bunch of things that can be left out from this list, right? Okay, cool. That is about that. I hope you got something out of it. Okay, so now getting back to this crap. This is a little bit depressing. I have no freaking clue what happened here. Something though happened, and it's a bit weird. Let me do one thing. Actually need to nuke that. Just remove this container. Have I used Mendix? No, I have not used that. No, to be honest with you, I don't know what it is. I'm gonna check it out in a second. I know I've never seen this before, ever, or heard about it. Yes, please ask it. I'm very happy to answer it. Absolutely. No, I don't. No. Right now, I don't have really use cases for this type of thing, but the website looks cool. Like, well, it looks like most other websites out there today. This is the kind of standardized style today, but it looks interesting. Yeah. I don't know what this actually is. It's hard. Like, these websites just fail so hard to answer the core question very initially, right? Should I learn HTML? Yeah, you should, yes. You definitely should. Okay, dude, what the fuck is happening? Source assets SCSS. Source. Oh, yes, what? Where is this requested? Give me 1 second. Fucking CSS, man, and that crap. I don't want to deal with that. Wait. Man, come on. Oh, this is why. Yeah, shit, man. Come on, dude. Don't do that, man. That sucks. Why are you doing that, bro? Okay, let's try that again. Man, come on. Stop trolling, bro. This is not a physics, man, stream. If you have programming related questions, otherwise paste that crap into ChatGPT, man. Like, I mean, if you are a physicist, and if you're incapable of copy pasting, then you're gonna have a very hard time in your career, man. Some people say that there are lizards living amongst us, right, man? And some people think that some color of the skin of some race is more superior than others. So some people say is a very stupid fucking argument, man. Some people say all sorts of things. So come on, let's be more intelligent than that, dude. Outplayed. Good evening, buddy. I have a hard time to understand the use of Redis. Would you explain what I should use it? Redis is a caching database. It's a memory-based database, right? So it keeps all of its. Of course, Redis also has a persistence, right? But Redis is you typically use Redis for caching, right? So when you don't want to, so let's just say that let's just explain Redis in a minute in a very like non-technical way. So this is actually going to probably be the quickest explanation of any. So you have your database here. So this is your database, like MySQL, Postgres, Cassandra, MongoDB, SQLite, Neo4j. You know, thousands of them. And then this is your client, whatever that client is. It can be a mobile phone, a pager, a web app, whatever. And at one point in time, you know, this is your client. It hits some API, and then the API talks to this service, this database here, and then it responds something. At one point in time, you want to optimize, reduce the calls to this database because you want it to be faster, and the records in the database that you're typically fetching are not changing very often. So then you say, well, you know, what if we had some database, how to make, yeah. And then you can see here, so you would add Redis, and you would cache the data in Redis, right? So now when you request something in your API would say, hey, API, is there any cache for this thing that user is asking? And it would be like, yeah, there is. Well, okay, then respond from Redis. Otherwise, and this actually doesn't have to be Redis. This is any in-memory store database, right? So that's really it, right? I hope it makes sense. Okay, let's get back into coding. So this thing should be working now. If you need more details, of course, I'm happy to go with that. Okay, great. We're kind of, this is fine. This is fine now. Louis GUI, we have already deployed that, I suppose. This is bitching about something. So now I guess I could continue with this. We could continue with that. I don't know if you're still there. What was it? How to make web test responsive? Man, don't ask these questions, please. I'll have to ban you. Seriously, we cannot discuss these things. Go to ChatGPT. It's free, right? And paste that crap in. Like, come on, man. Like, we cannot ask these types of questions, right? That's so disrespectful, dude. Don't be lazy, please. Like, it would make each call faster. Wait, let me ban this moron. How do I do that? Bye. Please, just leave. I would much rather want you to leave than me banning you. Thanks. So it would make each. So it wouldn't just make each call faster. It would also put less strain on your database. So it has. It's not just so it's faster, right? It's also so you don't need to scale. Let's say your Postgres, because it can't handle all the traffic, right? So it's not just the speed. It's also the fact that. Alrighty, going back to this. So this is the last thing that I was working on the product. So I was adding the upcoming events. So as some of you know, I've been lately working on this meetups feature. Alex, the other day I had a convo with a friend living in Denmark, and he told me companies require speaking Danish. Not really. I mean, I think that is true for Jutland and so that's definitely not true for Copenhagen area, right? A lot more. No, outplay. I'm sorry, I don't think that's true. I hire people. I wouldn't say every day, but I hired sufficient amount of people here in Denmark, and I don't think so. No, I mean there are some smaller consultancy companies, especially in the Jutland area and stuff, like very Danish part of cities, that maybe that is true for, but no. Here in Copenhagen, I've never heard that before. No. Jigdev, good evening, buddy. Good to see you. I'm very good, man. Very good. Came back to streaming this week. Haven't streamed in like 8 months. So good, man. How are you? Thank you very much for coming, man. Okay, and by the way, yeah, let me actually. Burger, let me try to explain it in a different way. I think let me try to do an analogy. Okay, Burger, hear me out. Imagine this, right? Imagine that you did some physical work, right? Let me try to explain caching to you a bit easier maybe. So this is Phil, okay? And I don't know, I'm just gonna try to construct it now. And this is some sort of toolbox, right? And fuck, I'm gonna try. So imagine, Phil, that you work with another person, and imagine that you work with another person fixing your roof, and every time when you need a tool, you need to call your friend, whatever. This is a stupid fucking example, but I'm gonna try. You need to call someone to ask, hey, where is this tool? I need a hammer, right? So every time you need a hammer, you need to call this guy here, and then this guy has to find the hammer himself manually and then bring you back the hammer. But then let's imagine that, you know, there's another person, a cache essentially, that just memorizes where these things are. So when you ask for it, this guy here can just get it faster. It knows, oh, I know where the hammer is, right? So fundamentally, the cache would be in a way that it would be a person that, you know, you can reach to without going to this guy all the way, so he searches for something. So here in the cache, this guy just says, no, I know where the hammer is. Don't go there. I'll just fetch it. You left it right here in the corner of this toolbox, right? instead of this guy needing to be like, all right, let me walk to this box and then seek for it in there, right? So this would be like a physical, like some people prefer like physical, like for example, when I was teaching at the bootcamp many years ago, I was explaining databases through physical spaces, like physical rooms, and people really love that a lot. So when you think about databases are almost one-to-one replication, to physical rooms, right? So this is why I was trying, at least, and I failed most likely, but I was trying to convey it more through a physical thing than through a digital thing, right? Yeah. All right. Unfortunately not. I'm not doing it for a couple of years because honestly that market is also dead. Nobody really... Knowledge is dead. Content is dead. So essentially, I don't think that, to be very frank with you, I don't think that there's really... There's no market for that. I don't think that knowledge is in demand. I mean, when you look at YouTube and stuff, I don't know, there's like, I don't know how many petabytes of videos are uploaded every minute to YouTube, right? So content is not really in demand, and the content that is in fact demand has very little to do with knowledge. When you look at the most popular streamers on this platform, when you look at the most popular content creators on YouTube, then you realize that people like to procrastinate and watch jokers and watch, like, nobody really seeks for my type of content. It's very rare, right? That's why I don't think I ever had more than 100 people or watching at the same time, because people want to either gossip shit, crap, and even programmers who watch these types of streams, they would much rather watch someone shit on some technology than build something else, right? So unfortunately, no, I miss teaching a lot, but there's very little demand for that, I think. At least if you ask me. Someone else might have a different experience, but that is mine. I'm just thinking now about one very random thing here. Why is... interesting. So I wonder why is this thing... Hover BG transparent. Yeah, so this state is good, but this one kinda... This is bad. What happened with this shit? Hover BG transparent, hover text bar. Yeah, so why is this not working, I wonder? That's so weird. That is so strange, man. Is this where we would smack important? So there's this discrepancy now. Oh, I see, Kirill. I'll take a look at that. GDT, good evening, buddy. Thank you very much for saying, for writing something. I appreciate that, man. Okay, I don't know. I mean, that's okay. I'll do these tiny stupid things. Okay, let me see actually what I want to do today here, because so there's been a lot of changes that I kind of that we just merged. Let me see actually what else what it is that I haven't actually merged. Okay, so okay, maybe maybe. Okay, let's do a little bit with AI, right? So, okay, let's do something with AI here. Bear with me. Shit, man, come on. Yeah, the current mouse that I'm using. Okay, so let's go back here, and let's kind of figure something out, because I would like to figure out, like, first this widget on our homepage. Like, this is where we're gonna be showing the upcoming events, like meetups and stuff like that. So let's do that. So let's implement a new and then we're gonna guide it new component for our feed view, currently shown in the right. That will show upcoming meetup events. Let's get inspired by event card. This is, of course, inside of our core Yale library. Let's see. I mean, I needed basically just a designer. Kirill, absolutely, man. That would be great. Also, if you want to join back the project and do some work sometimes, man, just let me know. I think that's also fine. So let's maybe kind of do that now. Let's see how we can utilize the AI to help us out. Okay, so this is kind of what I like about this now. So let's say, yeah, it should be a new component. Okay, so let's try this. Let's see what it can kind of help us with style-wise, because I want to deploy this as well. And then kind of continue working on this. Because this is starting to look good. I really like this. So all of the flow works. The CMS is kind of there. I think there's some tiny bugs I have to fix. Like more specifically something with another JSON validator schema. So that kind of still sucks. There's some state that's kind of the logic that's wrong, but we can fix that easily. And then I want to start using this feature for myself. There was one more thing that I wanted to add, which is a calendar, and also creating a recurring events, which would require us to kind of create an additional table and do some data modeling there, if you may. Okay, let's see, upcoming card events. Okay, upcoming event list component. Yeah, this is very good. Okay, let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot, and then we'll see kind of where we land. Then we see where we land in that sense. Give me 2 seconds. GDT, that's very nice, man. That's very nice. I'm now slowly, we're now finalizing. I should have probably, for those of you guys who haven't signed up yet, please do. Takes literally 3 seconds. and your data is more secured here than it's on Facebook, so don't worry about that. What did I want to do? Yeah, so let's see what it is going to do. And I should have probably committed this, but doesn't matter. Actually, we're doing this in Louis GUI anyway, I suppose. Wait a minute, let me... Yeah, so we are here. Okay, so these are the... Okay, so this is what is it doing. Very nice. Okay, so this is good. So I need to deploy this anyway. That's very good, because that's kind of broken now. Let's do the storybook. And then we'll probably need to adjust it a lot, because upcoming event list, upcoming event card. Sure. Let's see what it is. What is, yeah. Okay, that's fine, because now it's complaining about missing decorator, if you may. We need to review the living crap out of this now, but it's fine, we will. So far it's following all of my existing code, so if it does that, it's very good. I know I'm gonna like it, but let's see. Very good. Yes. Sure. Max events. Okay, some of the props, you could say. All right, we need to review this anyway, so let's just run this, and we'll need to go through it. Okay, very good. It added the exports as well. I'm very happy with that. So nothing really to complain about so far. Let's see. Now, of course, the only thing that we're missing now is a context, right? So obviously that's one thing. We need, but we do have the browser router, which is kind of ironic here. Okay. Also, the import is wrong. Should be vted there, and same here, I suppose, right? Yeah. I wonder if it's that, though. I don't think so. Oh, I see. So maybe these are just unnecessary. Let's try that card. Yeah, exactly. Okay, oh my god, I already like it. It did a very good job. I can see it. Multiple cards. What is it complaining about? Args is declared here. What? And let's take a look at the other bad boy here. Even though you could say it's questionable if this was necessary at all, but let's see. Yeah, I mean, that is awesome. I think this is pretty badass. Yep. I mean, hard to complain. We have empty states. It generated the skeleton. So this is exactly what I'm trying to convey when we use AI. There's a massive misunderstanding, I think, globally among especially non-technical people, these morons on LinkedIn. It has never been more important to have solid, well-written code base. So you're gonna hear on every step otherwise, oh, just generate it, because AI is so great when your code is written well, because it can then get what you have, and then it's gonna generate stuff based on how you wrote the rest of the stuff, right? So if you give it a good guidelines, if it can actually utilize your own expertise, so it can actually write things, it's amazing. That is the, why is this the TypeScript server type of problem? I think it is. This seems like a correct thing. Yeah, it is. Okay, beautiful. This is the only thing that I don't know. Let's give it this crappy error. No. Never do that. No. Why is this? That's a bit weird. Yeah, but this is never going to be undefined. That's so weird, man. Why is it? Yeah, but I changed the TypeScript rules today, so that's fine. Okay, let's go back here. All right. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, what? So I suppose the render should render be inside of args? Like, is that? All right, I don't know the syntax for this, to be honest. Let's say wrap. Do you review websites? Phil, I mean, I'm happy to do that sometimes. It would be cool to skip it today. I'm going on a business trip tonight. Actually, I'm going to the airport here at 4 a.m. I'm going to Lisbon with my team for 4 days. So this is going to be a pretty short stream. I need to pack up my stuff. So when I'm back next week, I'm very happy to look at whatever. It's just I haven't done what I planned this stream, and it's, yeah, I would like to at least do a couple of more things before we, yeah. But sure, man, like we can do whatever seems fun to the rest of the people as well. So why not? Yeah. My flight is at 6 a.m. so I need to be at the airport at 4, and then we're gonna land to Lisbon at around 10. It's around 4-hour flight, and then yeah, we're gonna be in Lisbon, and then our hotel is close to is a little bit outside of Lisbon, but it's beautiful. And it's like we're flying the whole company there. It's like 60 or 70 of us. We're not all taking the same flight tomorrow. Some people are going later in the day. I took that early flight because I want to just have a whole day in Lisbon, you know, just check out the city. I've never been there. So I just want to kind of have the opportunity. Short, you know that I did that actually, Yo-Yo. Back in the day when I was actually actively streaming, I did start a Twitch stream from the airport. I was traveling also to some business trip as well, and I remember doing that. You remember the stream, Kirill? Yeah. Have you started using that UI design service? Oh, no, I haven't. I think you're referring to the one where you can get inspired like by examples and stuff. Like it was like something. Yeah, I know what you mean, but no, I haven't. I don't remember the name from it. But I know. I swear to God, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. Okay. Thank you very much, guys, for your follows. That's very kind of you. That's awesome. I'm happy that at least you're learning something new. That's always the point of this stream, is that we not necessarily to have so much fun, because not everything has to be fun. Sometimes boring things are also useful. So we can't have our brains always occupied by dopamine and stuff like that. Cool. All right. So what I'm gonna do, actually, I don't need to deploy this yet because I just need to build it locally, and then we're gonna reinstall here, and then we should have, in fact, yeah. So let's build it. Let's use it locally already. So I'm gonna go to the, and by the way, I'm impressed. You see, like, again, of course, these are more or less pure components, so I would not expect anything else from the AI than to do it well. It's just like there is nothing fundamentally complex here that we can't do it on our own. That's, again, none of these are the points. The point is that you don't have to manually type this crap. It's literally not today. It's literally a matter of physical capability versus time. So it's like there is no way, it's impossible that a human being can write faster than a computer, right? So fundamentally, this stuff here, none of this is basics. I mean, the UI is typically something that's fundamentally simple if you do it well. But the fact that I no longer have to manually, if loading, return this, is like, oh yes, because then I can focus on building things that I like and not proving to myself for 20 something years that I can write an if statement, right? So that is the beauty of it. That is why I like it so much, right? Yeah, absolutely you do. No. Of course you do. 100%. Of course you need to know it before. Yeah, no, I mean, no question about that, right? But when you do know it, then you can truly enjoy not needing to do it. I do not enjoy writing React components. I don't wake up and like, yeah, I'm gonna write like, who cares, man? Nobody cares. I want to build things, and if I can automate that sort of stuff, right? Like, yes, let's do it, you know. I've had decent luck in C# code base after laying down the architecture and writing a decent instruction for the AI. Frequently, I can now throw small... Absolutely a bit casual. I agree with you, man, 100%. That's exactly my point. If you build a solid foundation, if you care about your code, if you build it like as you care, then the AI can help you a lot. That is the whole point. So actually, it's you could almost say that it's quite ironic. Is like AI will help you the most if you know things already, if you're an expert, even though I hate that word. And second, if your code base is already good, then because it knows, it just takes fragments of what you have and just replicates it. It almost becomes regex on steroids rather than the AI type of thinker. It just can then replicate your things, and it wants to replicate your things, and it agrees with your things because your things are awesome. It doesn't have to re-platform and change. It can just say, wow, this is already awesome. I'm gonna do the same here. Because that's fundamentally what programming is, especially APIs. When you're writing an API agnostic of the language, it's always, there's some endpoint that runs some callback when some requests in there, and then there's some response, right? So if you have a solid foundation, then you just build on top of it, right? It's quite awesome. Okay, so that's there. This is exported, right? Yes. Have you tried React Router? I might be using it here. Am I using it here? Yeah, I mean, Programmer Network is using that already. Yeah. I mean, my dependencies on all of my projects are, in 95% of cases, always up to date. Because even, I mean, I haven't worked on this project in 8 months. Well, I'm using React. I'm not. That's what I'm. Programmer Network is built using just plain React. I'm not using these garbage, hybrid bullshit SSR frameworks like nodejs. I would never use that, unless maybe there's one use case when I would use it, but that's consulting and I have limited hours. So this is actually exported. So why is my TypeScript failing at picking it up? Upcoming. Yeah, that's weird. I mean, I would expect it. Yeah, it's actually here. What? What? What the fuck is happening? Okay, wait. No, it's literally there. So why is what? That's so weird, man. Oh, yeah, it is here. What is maybe cursor is farting out. Okay, either way. Let's now import these components inside feed and replace what's there right now. Well, I think AI is definitely changing the landscape. I actually think that the statement that AI is not taking our jobs is only partially true, right? Because again, when you ask a question such as will AI take our jobs? That question is often asked in a very absolute way, right? Like nothing over the course of history happens in absolute moments, right? So for instance, when farmers said 120 years ago approximately that, hey, tractors are not going to take our jobs, they were actually correct. Tractors didn't kill the farmers' jobs, but today you have 2% farmers and 100%, like 120 years ago, there were 98% of farmers, right? So when we say that AI is not going to take our jobs, in a literal, absolute sense, it will not. You will always have to have some programmers. But to think that AI is not going to massively reduce amount of jobs, that it 100% will, right? And absolutely, and of course, like this doesn't apply to everybody. Like if you keep yourself if you keep upskilling, if you understand that you have to react to the changes around you, not the other way around, like that world is gonna adjust itself because you don't like some novelty coming to the world, then you're fine, right? So AI is definitely, I mean, already massively changing jobs. I can see it when we hire way less than before. Companies hire way less than before. So it is already happening, right? It would be silly to say that it is definitely happening. You know, now is it taking them all away? No, but you know, have you tried windsurf? I haven't tried windsurf, but my colleague Lee, a person that works in my team, he has actually tried it. And short story cursor is better. That's just if you will, short story cursor is better. Due to some, I don't actually remember why, but yeah, this is kind of weird. Is this because I zoomed in? Absolutely a bit casual. So again, getting fired, also firing people, at least here in the Western world, is very, very expensive, right? So you can't just fire people randomly. But for sure, like I can see it. I mean, I work in tech leadership, and I can see with my own company where I work, I can see it with other, I can feel it on LinkedIn. Like a year or two ago, I was getting several offers every week on LinkedIn. Now that is just less and less. And this is just, I'm using my own example. Again, it's not about my own ego or anything like that. Like literally, companies here in Copenhagen were almost fighting to hire me. And now I don't feel like that anymore. I no longer feel per se like I'm a rock star still. Not really, to be honest with you. I mean, and so I feel it on my own example. Now, is my own example absolute proof? No. But things have changed, and I think people who don't want to admit this are just lying to themselves. Things have definitely changed. The junior market has definitely suffered. I also hear from hiring is harder because every resume looks polished, so hard to find, blah, blah. Well, I mean, I can for sure, as I just said, and I'm going to say it again, like things are definitely different. And I mean, people who work in this industry, like I talk to CTOs, I talk to tech leaders, I go to tech leadership meetups and stuff here in Copenhagen, right? So this is not my own opinion or anything like that. It's just factual, right? Things are definitely different, and especially for juniors. I don't even want to go there. That's even worse, right? So things are different, and that's why I say when we talk about AI this, AI that, like things don't happen in absolutes ever. Like no time in history. For those of you who haven't, right, just read this book. This book This book is written by Mustafa Suleyman. It's the bestseller. If you want to understand what I'm talking about, I swear to God, you will not regret it. Get this book on Audible, get it on Amazon, make your company buy it for you. This is very important to read today. So Mustafa Suleyman, he's a founder of DeepMind. Today he works as a CEO of Microsoft AI. He's been in forefront of all the AI past 20 years. So he's not some asshole like myself sharing opinion out of his butthole. This guy has very, very, very deep understanding and knowledge of AI because he's been one of the top 5 people on earth who contributed to it. So you should listen to what he says. This is a great book because it doesn't just talk about AI. It goes through historically, it goes through all the waves of technology and advancement, and he uses a bunch of these examples, right? So this book will kind of get you a little bit closer to understand also what I'm talking about and how these waves happen. You had industrial revolution, we had computers and internet. All of these are waves. So for example, one transistor, if you know what I mean, I have a little workbench here. Like I do computer electronics as well. A transistor, not many decades ago, one transistor costed $10,000. So $10,000. Today, for $10,000, you can buy 17 billion transistors. And then there's countless examples of evolution of technology, right? So when people look at AI today with all the criticizing, oh, these limits, that limits, nobody cares about that, man. These are just technical things which will eventually get resolved sooner or later, right? So read the books. Read books written by smart people. If you truly want to understand, don't listen to assholes like myself or some random guy on YouTube. Read books, and it's gonna give you insights because these are credible people with credible experience behind it, versus someone like well, I have credible experience. That's why I always say go to my LinkedIn and see what I've been doing past 20 years. But still, in the context of AI, you shouldn't listen to me or some other asshole like me. You should listen to people like this, right? That's my main point. The thing is, like the equation today is very simple. Very, very simple. You can just do a lot more with way less people. And this is again, if you're alive, conscious, self-critical, self-aware, nobody has to tell you this. If you don't feel already, every single one of you in this chat today, that you can't do several times more with AI today than a few years ago, then you're either doing something wrong or you're completely ignorant. There's no third option. So you're either doing something wrong or you're completely ignorant to the fact that the amount of stuff you can produce, especially if you're a professional already, is insane, right? So this is, if you don't feel that, if you're not feeling what I'm saying is true, trust me, you're doing something wrong. You're doing something deeply wrong, because you can. And you can do so much, especially, not to mention, you can see here I'm perfectionist for this project. I want things to be super clean, defined, 100% test coverage. This is an anti-pattern what I'm doing. If you want to build things, release them, validate them, ship fast, fail fast, it's incredible what you can do with just a few people today. I think this is, yeah. Okay, so let's see, the title URL, that's a weird thing. There's no such thing as title URL. So why did it title URL? What? How did it get this? But if you take a look at our table, Yeah. If you're knowledgeable, you're a rock star. 100%. I agree. Will the market get better for juniors? I think a little bit about it a little bit differently, right? I think market will be fine, probably. So again, as I said before, there's several theories of where this can go. It can either go to shit, which is less likely, or because now the entry level for non-technical people to start digital companies is so low, like you can literally be completely dumb about programming and computers today, and you can still, if you have good business insights, if you can find a niche in the market, you can go to Lovable and generate a working MVP that can get you funding, right? And this is my theory. My theory is that a lot of people with good ideas, good insights, good domain knowledge will start actually succeeding with these products, and then they will have to hire people. Now, with that said, we are definitely down to the fact that companies, each individual company will need less developers, because today you can do more with less. But also the number of companies who hire will probably increase. So it's gonna kind of balance itself out. So the total amount of people we're gonna need is probably gonna still be the same. It's just that the teams are going to be smaller. So that's kind of my take. Again, it's all out of the asshole opinions, so nobody knows. If you ask me, if you ask anyone else, they will just tell you their opinion. So that's why it's so imperative to always repeat for oneself that opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, right? So super important. Whatever happens, don't sit down and wait for it to happen. Upskill and learn new things and get excited. For me personally, this is the most exciting times in our industry ever. It's the fact that you can go to Gemini's, guided learning, use AI as your personal mentor. This is a dream come true. Like every day, man, I learn so many different things. It's so nice. It's so back and forth. Only thing that I'm sad about is I have very little time. I have 2 kids. I have a wife. I have a full-time job. So the only thing I wish I had is more time. But it has never been so exciting to be alive in the context of learning. Because, dude, how fascinating it is. You can just, you go to freaking Gemini, right? Imagine this. Look at this, man. And tell me, please, that this is not absolute a miracle. Look at this, guided learning. Listen, imagine this. You say, hey, I am a senior programmer in, let's say, TypeScript and web, and I want to become a Rust programmer. Teach me Rust in 1 day, starting from community packages, standard template library, concurrency, and any other regular concepts that all languages have. Let's learn syntax in 10 minutes. Look at this stuff. If this is not amazing, this is what I love it. It's so fascinating, right? Now you start discussing with this, textual algorithm. It just guides. This is just random. It just came to my mind, right? But you can see now it gives you timeline. The 10-minute blah blah. Okay. Let's go with 1, right? I mean, dude, this is so great. I mean, people used to pay me $200 per hour as a mentor. My hourly rate was $200 just to teach them JavaScript. And that job now is dead because of this. Why the hell would you pay some asshole like me now when you can go here and it's like, yeah, here it is. And then you ask it, well, I don't understand that. Can you explain it? This is power, man. Like anybody, you can become a biologist, physicist, you can learn digital electronics, whatever you want, you have it. This is like, for me, this is like a miracle. And that's why I'm saying it's so easy to upskill today, right? It's Yeah, for sure. This is insane, man. The only thing you need to have is just desire, obsession to learn. That's really the only thing you need to have. Nothing else. Meetups. Events. Well, actually, I guess I can update that here. So essentially, yeah, so that's wrong. So we need to do a join there. Give me 2 seconds. Let me just go to my API and then I'm gonna answer a question. So if we go to meetups.router, I suppose, and if we take a look at the very last one we did, which is, this is notifications and notification. Upcoming. Yeah. So if we take a look at this bad boy here, what we do, we also do a left join on the meetups, which means that we also get a meetup slug, which kind of sucks ass here because both of them are called slug. So we could in theory do this a little bit better, but how can I alias this? Wait. Yeah, but can I alias it here? Can we alias that as meetup slug? This is basically when we use attributes. I think there you can literally do it in here, but let me see. What's my take on Gemini versus ChatGPT? Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I use both probably almost equally every day. All of these models I think are equally good, as I said, equally good or equally bad, depending on how bad or lazy you are in the context of the prompt. So it's actually hard to say, right? I think, as I said a couple of days ago, I think no matter how optimized a model is, whatever that word means in that context, optimized, it can very rarely beat the laziness and unstructured questions that the user can ask. So no matter how well you can create a model and make it smart, inability of a person to compose a proper question will always crap on that. So in simple words, if you take the shittiest model, you can always get so much better insights of it if you put in the effort of composing your thoughts. Again, as I said countless times, like Einstein said, if I had an hour to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes looking for the right questions to ask. Meaning, in a sense, also besides that, asking right questions is hard because to ask the right questions, you need to have experience. So, for example, what I would advise you to do in the context of prompting is reverse engineering questions. So if you don't know what to ask, and let's say you're building a feature X, but you have no idea where to start, you could say, well, what are the typical questions I would ask or that I have to know before I do this? This is also in a way like learning how to think, learning how to compose questions, right? So this is something that's probably one of the most important skills today with these prompts, is being able to ask the right questions, right? So if you don't know, well, then say, okay, what are the questions that I should be asking? Oh, okay, I see. So we're not flattening this thing out. I see. Okay. Well, in that case, we don't really then need to alias this, so that's fine. Shit, man. Yeah, no. Okay. So this is now more of a, yeah, sure. I get it. Okay. So what I'm actually going to do here, I'm going to go back here. So this is the beauty of having your own front-end facing API, right? Is that you actually don't need to deliver all of this garbage data that you actually don't need, right? So what we can in fact do, we don't even need to do this, right? We can actually be a lot smarter than that, right? So let's go back here. Let's take this interface of ours, right? This contract. And let's say, let's update our get upcoming events to yield data that looks like this. Essentially, actually, nah, let me remove this. Where was it? So what do we want? We want title. We want title, date and time, summary, location, and maybe location type, and then event URL. Construct an event URL from the event slug, and then meetup.slug. Are you using the React compiler for this project? Actually, not yet, I think. I think it just got out of beta. I'm actually can't wait to try that on all of my projects, in fact, because all of my dependencies are always like up to date. So I'm actually looking forward. I mean, I did update, actually. I mean, it is the latest version of React in both repositories, so maybe I am using it. Actually, you can see, no, this one is using peer dependencies, but you can see, no, I'm actually, yeah, I am using the latest React, and if we go to the front end, so probably I am, yeah, already. Let's take a look at that. Package, I don't remember, but I always tend to due to security reasons, mostly, if you wonder why. Yeah, we're using, so I don't know if there's some flag to enable it. If not, then essentially, yeah. Very nice, very nice. I like this a lot. Very nice changes. Sure, not bad, very good. It's updating the tests and the storybook and stuff. Very good, very simple and very good. And it's good because it's simple, of course. You could say that this could be some sort of a util that does this if we want to. It's a separate package you need. Okay, actually, thank you for the reminder. I didn't know that you needed. I wasn't paying too much attention to it, but I definitely want to. Do you think knowing AngularJS as a junior can set you apart in the job market in comparison to React? I mean, that's a very... I understand the question. I think that any extra knowledge can set you apart, right? So the answer in a logical sense, theoretical sense, is yes. But I think... yeah, I mean, yes, sure. Yeah, the answer is, like, if you know, like, an additional type of frameworks, and of course, like, I would say that you should tend to learn something like Angular more because you want to understand the patterns behind this type of framework. AngularJS, I think, if you're doing any UI work, I think it's very useful to learn, because especially if you're not like coming from an old-fashioned programming background, because you will learn about dependency injection, about event emitters, about modules, about various base level concepts that any programmer should know anyway, right? So this is kind of the benefit and the crappy part about things like Angular, is that Angular in some way is great, and in some way it's crappy, exactly for the reasons that it's great in the first place. It's great because it encapsulates you in all of these abstractions. You know, you need to use a dependency injection, you need to register your modules, you need to pass them in, you need to inject your dependencies there, you have the controllers, directives, and all of this crap. So you could say, if you ask a C# developer or a backend engineer, they're going to say, yeah, that's a great thing. But if you ask somebody who's not from that background, they will say, why the hell do I need all that to build a bloody component? I should just wrap it in a div and it works, right? So the benefit is you know, it goes both ways, right? It's like, depending who you ask, but knowing something more than others, I mean, it's certainly better than worse. Like, sure, I would say that, yes. I think if you want to set yourself apart, learn core programming concepts. This is what's going to set you apart. So learn the patterns, understand, be able to build a framework of like if we wanted now, I could probably build a mini React in 2 or 3 streams, because I'm also answering these questions, right? So these things are important to know, not necessarily because you're going to be asked about it in the interview, but I think it's very sad to work and use tools not having any clue how they work. You're just never confident enough. So I think for the one's level of confidence, no matter what you do, Golang, Rust, web pages, CSS, it's important for you, for your own soul and your own sake, to learn the details of the tools you're using, not because they're going to give you a job. All of this, of course, is a plus, but for your own level of, you know, when I go into interviews with companies, my confidence is like 400%, literally, because in most cases, in 99% cases of my interviews past 20 years, I would just talk and person would listen and say nothing. Because I like to know things, I'm almost competitive with myself, and the confidence is what nearly can guarantee you that nearly every single interview you have is almost going to be an offer. And these things are not hard to learn. I'm not talking about algorithms and data structures and any of these things. It's just feeling confident about the runtime you're using. So if you're talking about Node.js, if you're talking about Go, if you're talking about, you need to know how concurrency works. You just need to do that. Otherwise, you will never appear confident. And when you don't appear confident, just like animals sniffing each other, people notice that, right? And then it's definitely not a plus, right? So for sure, man, absolutely. Well, I mean, I did technically build this, right? We did change the source components. Did we not? Yeah, we did. Yeah, we definitely did. We simplified this, kind of flattened it out. This sucks. I actually don't like this at all. This is fine. Yes, sure. That is super weird. That's absolutely useless and unnecessary, because that exception is gonna bubble up, and then some handler is gonna pick it up, probably like well, actually it does matter in a way. It's gonna be a different type of error, but anyway, let's not get there. And what's happening here? Let's just save this file so it kind of gets... I think these frameworks are not comparable in a sense, because they typically follow different backend technologies, right? So for example, like, I think there's a massive correlation between a stack depending where what is used. For example, if you hear AngularJS, typically it's bound to C#, .NET, or PHP Laravel. So it's very common that when you're searching for a job, if you see Angular, In many cases, it's bound to Laravel on the backend. It's very rarely bound to Fastify or Bun.js or whatever. So I think there's some of these stacks are somewhat defined like between these tools, and Angular is mostly coupled to .NET land because, of course, Microsoft, their TypeScript team and their Angular team are also, you know, maintaining C#, right? That's what Microsoft's product as well. So typically, these types of tools are bound to a certain backend technology as well, or even to say, I wouldn't say backend, I would say the whole ecosystem. So like .NET. And true, yeah, it is open source, which is amazing, and I hope they stop building Next.js and all of that garbage, whatever, and focus on the core library, because they were taking a very, very bad direction, if you ask me. And that really sucked. Thank you very much, by the way, everybody, for your follows. I just trying to focus a bit. Okay, it's just one thing that I find very weird, and which is non-deterministic and very, very annoying as well, is that you can see that for whatever reason, it's kind of, I don't know if it's actually maybe the cursor. Let's try to reload the whole cursor, because sometimes it fails to pick up the new typings definition files from TypeScript because I'm kind of linking locally between my core library that I built. And so you can see, for example, it's kind of failing here now for the events type. Oh, I see. So maybe it is a discrepancy in a type indeed. Okay, so let's say maybe it is not good actually. So let's see, where did we do that? Let's close that. Oh, I see. This is the problem. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's super fucking weird. When was this? When was this written? So this one is the problem, right? So there's discrepancy between this, which expects upcoming event card data, and then this, right? So are we actually exporting that? I think we are exporting it, so we should be able to import that, right? And yeah, sure, set events, but then this get upcoming events data also has to return this, right? I guess. Okay, let's see, because and then transform event data. Yeah, that's a bit weird, but we can fix that up. It's fine. It's not end of the world, but I actually. I see. Okay. All right, no problem, because we can't really do. But there's a little discrepancy we've created here now, so that's a bit. That's a bit different, right? So sure, let's keep that there, yeah. But then here we'll do it a bit different, because it is sure. Nah, but that's not the type, bro. Why are you writing the wrong type? That's not the type, man. Come on. Focus. And then, of course, now this is kind of from a perspective of types is correct, but we're missing one thing. Maybe, or maybe not. Okay, maybe that's fine. Josh, my friend, good evening. I mean, again, like, I think learning new things, building things, I think maybe there's a slight misunderstanding when we talk about new languages. Like, for example, a good, valid question could be, why would I learn a new language, right? Like, but I think that it's not about learning the new languages. It's about getting new ideas and then incorporating them in your own language. So, for example, JavaScript or TypeScript, if you may, are one of my favorite languages, right? Golang, C#, JavaScript. I love these languages, right? But I love them even more because I've wrote so many languages up until that point that it gave me massive insights into how you can write your code. And the beautiful thing about JavaScript and terrible thing about JavaScript, depending who you are, is that if you suck, you can write it in a really bad way. And if you're great, you can write it in a great way. Like Golang, for example, is a great language because no matter how much you suck, it's so restrictive that it's going to guide you of doing things in a correct way. But anyway, going back to the previous point, learning new languages is important because it gives you new ideas, new ways of thinking. You know, when you learn Haskell or Clojure, you learn about recursion and monads and functional programming and pure functions and currying, function currying and and so many other things. So that's why it's not to say you need to learn languages so you to use them all, of course. And you cannot program in 5 languages, not because you physically can't, it's because there's no demand for that. You're never going to get a job where you are writing 4 different languages at the same time. That makes no sense. But you should still do it because it can make you better in the language you're actually writing. So that's why. Okay, so this is fine. I like this a lot. And honestly, when I see this now, I think we should probably do similar for these latest articles, right? So for now, I'm not going to commit this anyway. Okay, and of course, one very important thing, right? Actually, let me just mention this while I'm at it, right? So you can see here, you can see that I have used almost 60% of the context of this chat, right? I don't know if you know, and I'm sure that many of you do know, but more context it piles up, more it will start hallucinating. Of course, if we would get to 100% context used, then it actually wouldn't be able to answer the questions that I asked at the very beginning because it would literally wouldn't know. It would be outside of the context. So build a habit to always start new chat when you need some new feature, right? One thing that I saw that it's actually very useful. Let me show you one thing. You can do something like this: aggregate into a paragraph what we just did, so I can give it to the next prompt, right? So if you need to correlate sessions, I mean, actually, I don't know why these tools are not made to already do this in a way or provide you with an ability to say, like, I would expect Cursor in the future to say, you press at and says, there's a feature here that says, include summarized previous session. Then you choose a previous session, right? Let's now design a beautiful latest articles one as well. Of course, to fit the article as a concept. No calendar number. It's something to make sense there. Compact mode. Okay, I didn't know that. Under feed, and you can take a look at the article model. Actually, this is a scope creep. I shouldn't actually be changing this crap now. But the way... what's the cost of Redis to implement the project and how we deploy this? There's no cost. Redis is open source with a very strange license, beware. But yeah, there's Redis. You can find a Redis image on, and you deploy it just like any other Docker image, right? So if we take a look at my own Docker Compose, and if we take a look at the Redis, basically this is how you do it. You give it a container name, you choose which image version, you say restart whatever, you expose some ports. This shouldn't actually be happening, this should be closed. That's it, pretty much. So you deploy it like any other Docker container. Let me just spam this crap here, just for those who don't know. What's happening now? Wait. Okay, I mean, I suppose it's gonna do a very similar thing. Yeah, I suppose so, yeah. Okay, I mean, yeah, sure. Storybook test. Yeah, what? Why? What? Why would you? What the fuck is this crap, man? What? What test, bro? Come on, bro. Don't do that crap, man. And also, like, what is this? Cannot find module. I mean, you don't have to do that, man. I mean, thank you. That's a nice thing, but all right, it's kind of failing there a bit, but it's okay. We'll figure it out. It's kind of farting out a bit. Sure, doesn't matter. Oh, I see. Okay, I mean, I respect that. Sure. Yeah, article. Yeah, I think so. Because this is very coupled to this specific feature, so it's kind of okay. Thank you very much for the follows, guys. That's awesome. Okay, and then obviously we'll see if they will appear. We'll need to replace them here, but that's okay. What do we want to do? Sure, yeah. And then we need to review the living crap out of these things. I see. Okay, sure. Sure, yeah. Okay, let's stop it here. It's okay because it doesn't know what's happening. So I'll need to build this. Yeah, these story issues are fine. So let's just fix the imports very quickly. Oh, I see. Mm. Sure. I see. Okay. Sure. And then, yeah, that should kind of be it, I think. This is a platform that you can sign up on. I built this platform several years ago. It's just in the stream when I used to stream actively. So I'm not building this for. I mean, I built this to chill out with you guys, but I'm also building it as a real platform. I mean, this is a real platform. It's probably a better platform than, at least quality-wise, than most platforms you use daily. At least security-wise, quality-wise, Programmer Network is probably ahead most websites you visit anyway. So this is not some crappy pet project. It's a real platform, man. With systems that I built, as you can see, very slow, and the core of it is security and everything else. So it's definitely a platform. Is it a known mega used platform? No, and it might never be, but I don't care. I do it for my own soul. But yeah, it's definitely a real thing. A real thing that works and has maybe 2,000 users signed up on Programmer Network already. So that is, that is fine by me. Maybe one day when we fix some of these things and when we finalize these features, who knows? You never know. I would much rather build something and then, fail than never build anything and wonder, what if I did it? So okay. All right. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, do I like it a lot? No, I don't. But we can make it be nice. It's also basically, yeah, it's missing some. That's fine, all good. Yeah, I mean, it's not disgusting for sure. It's not great yet. But we'll make it nice. We'll make it fine. Maybe not. I also need to round up. Let's actually chat a bit, fellas. I have a flight in a couple of hours, and I need to put my kid to sleep and hug him and stuff. My kids are not gonna see me for like 4 days, so I will be sad. They will be sad. So let's see if any of you have any questions or whatever. I'm flying to Portugal tomorrow, to Lisbon. Actually, my flight is at 6 a.m., so I have to be at the airport at 4 a.m. So it's a quite crazy timing there, yeah. So I'll be back on Thursday, and then probably we see each other next Friday. Your Portuguese, very nice, man. Well, I'm going to your beautiful country tomorrow, and I can't wait. I've heard I've heard only the greatest things about the food there, people, and the country itself. So tomorrow morning I'll be drinking coffee in Lisbon somewhere with my colleagues. So I'm looking forward to that very much. Thank you very much for the GM for the follow. I do not use Vercel. I don't couple myself to platforms, so I like to keep myself decoupled. I'm an old-fashioned programmer from the 90s, if you may. So I don't do platform locking anywhere. So I don't use Vercel or any of these tools because there's no need. There's a beautiful land of open source software there that I can host anywhere I want and build in the way that I want. So I don't know much about. I've never heard of workflow dev kit. I don't know what Vercel does. Yeah, I'm sorry, Josh. That's my response. But I don't know. I don't follow Vercel or anything like that. I use infrastructure open source tools like Grafana and Prometheus and Loki and Docker and many other tools, and in the front end I use open source tools as well, and I do them in the way that I want. I don't allow myself to be too opinionated by some of these abstractions like Vercel and stuff. I have very little use of these tools that are built because most of them are just a massive mess of piled garbage that it's impossible to maintain. My application runs on Hetzner and on my own Kubernetes cluster. So some services run here on my own server, and some services run on Hetzner. But most things run on my own server here. This is a Kubernetes server. This is 7 computers in total in that image there. So 4 Raspberry Pis in the bottom, 1 mini PC, which is my router, and then 2 top mini PCs are also Kubernetes workers. So it's a high availability one. There's 3 main nodes and there's 3 workers. So that's where I do it. But if you would ask me about hosting service, I would always say Hetzner. If you don't want to self-host, Hetzner is amazing. I've been using Hetzner for, I would maybe even be open to say maybe even more than 20 years. Have I used, yes, Cloudflare is also part of my infrastructure. Cloudflare is my favorite company by far. I don't think that I literally have any other company that's my favorite other than Cloudflare. I love Cloudflare. I've been using their free services for 2 decades. I never almost paid a penny. I'm paying for Cloudflare images for Programming Network like $5 a month. But besides that, all the DNS stuff, all the firewall stuff, all the WAF stuff that they provide, Edge stuff, R2, like a replication of like a one-to-one to S3, like Amazon S3 or GCP cloud storage, that's also free for a very good amount of stuff you get. So yeah, Cloudflare is part of all of my infrastructure. Cloudflare, I mean, my home Kubernetes lab is in front of Cloudflare as well. Our Programmer Network platform is in front of Cloudflare as well. So there's cloud, everything goes through IPv6 and IPv4 IP. So the only traffic that can reach out my servers has to come from Cloudflare IP addresses, right? So Cloudflare is awesome, and it does a lot for us developers. So definitely use it. Definitely use it, I have to say. All right, fellas. Well, what can I say? It's been great hanging out with you for how long? For 2.5 hours. And I have to go. I have to fly to Portugal, as I said, very soon. So I need to go and prepare and pack up my stuff. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for those of you who followed. Those of you who gonna stick around, please sign up on Programmer Network. Kirill, I love you, man. Thank you very much. Simple Cookie outplayed all of you guys. It's always lovely seeing you after all of these years that we've been hanging out together, and also not streaming for a year almost, and then seeing you again. That's quite awesome. So Very nice. Thank you very much again, guys. I'll see you next week, sometimes probably Friday after I'm back. And okay, let me answer this last question. Why I stream? I mean, I stream for fun, man. Like, the streaming is useless for anything else other than fun, and of course, trying to build a community for Programmer Network so it can grow and stuff. But I stream because I enjoy it, man. I mean, if I wasn't streaming, I would be probably now coding this anyway. But streaming from the perspective of the only value of it is meeting great people like many of you and also having fun. So there's no value in streaming besides, you know, just having fun. Financially, it's completely useless. I mean, most of people in this chat, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but a lot of people in this chat over time were just broke, right? So, I mean, technically, like, even if every single one of you now subscribed, 50 of you, right? It would still make very little difference to me, right? Because you subscribe, it's like $5. Half of that goes to tax. So I mean, to be profitable on Twitch, it's impossible. Like, you would have to just do this full time and create content, use other platforms to attract people, right? I don't have social. I only have LinkedIn. I don't have Twitter. I never in my life saw TikTok or TikTok, whatever is it called. Instagram I never saw in my life, besides some images that somebody sends you. So you know, like, for me, this game would never work. Like, I can never win in this game, like, popularity contents wise. Not because I'm bad. Actually, I think probably my content is amazing and people can learn a lot of great things. It's just I don't have the time to, you know, like, I don't have the time to, you know, go and seek for engagement and whatever. Like, people who like my stream, they can watch it. Those who don't, they can leave. And I mean, I always say, if I can have 5 or 10 of you that I know for so long coming back, for me, that's a massive win, because it's almost like we're hanging out and talking crap. But besides that, and that's why also the benefit of thinking like this is that I have no obligation to stream, right? I can stream now and I never have to stream again, because, you know, it goes both ways. I don't owe you anything and you don't owe me anything either, right? So when I have fun and time, I do it. When I don't, I don't stream, right? So No, dude, but that's perfectly fine. You don't have to support me. Just being here, dude, you already do that, right? So, I mean, thank you very much. Hopefully you're here because you like it, and you don't have to worry about subscribing or anything like that, man. I mean, it would be great if, like, when I started this stream many years ago, before I stopped streaming, like, my goal was that we actually genuinely build some community together, and then every single penny that I would get through this stream, we would invest into competitions, paying some of the viewers to do some work on the platform, right? So my grand goal was like, yeah, man, let's just build a community and everybody chips in $5-10 a month. Then we have a public, like, Excel sheet of all of the donors, and then we, like, you know, like, spend that money, whatever. But that's not that never materialized even remotely. It never will, and it was an experiment. To my defense, if you may, it was an experiment. I genuinely thought that would be possible, right? I mean, Simple Cookie, there's already a bunch of repository. I mean, the core UI library is fully open source. Form validation library is open source, right? So a lot of things are already open source. I don't think people find interest in that, right? So I don't think so. And also, as you said, I don't think that would benefit me much, right? Because I don't have the time to do that, right? So that anyway, that's just how it works, and that's how streaming is, and that's perfectly fine. I tried several things. I saw how it is, how it works, and I think that is perfectly fair. I think that's why, again, if you ever want to stream, believe me, it's better to do it the way that I do than some others, because I have zero pressure to stream, because I do it for fun and I feel no obligation towards anybody. So because the other way is very stressful, right? You kind of keep telling yourself, okay, well, if I just keep showing up, you know, I'm gonna. But no, it doesn't actually work like that. You can keep showing up every day for 10 hours, and trust me, sometimes it's gonna get even worse, because people just get bored of you because you keep doing the same crap every day, right? So it's a strange thing and it's a beautiful thing at the same time. And then if you just embrace it as a fun hobby to do every now and then, I think it's awesome, and I would highly advise anybody to give it a shot. But if you have some sort of aspirations of becoming some sort of a popular streamer who lives from that, I don't think it's gonna happen. So anyway, my pleasure, man. Thank you very much again. Have a good night, and I'll see you guys next week.